Why is there no music? It's so weird when the music just like stops in the background. Okay, maybe. Au contraire, monsieur. I did have the misfortune of being victim to your dancing. Must you always bring that up? It was a long time ago. He looked so distressed that Catherine couldn't help but tease him further. I mourn the death of my little toe, sire. I liked that toe. It was a traumatic experience. Before long, they were laughing like it was the most natural thing in the world. When did it change? Hadn't it always been like this? Catherine settled back into her own skin, mulling the confusion in her veins. Kath. She looked up at him, her own emotions stung her. You can't keep running away from me. She sighed deeply. Her hands tightened around her resolve, for lack of a solid thing to hold on to. Perhaps not, but I have already given you an answer. I am aware. I have tried to accept it. Please don't take offense, but I thought it would be easy. I left to clear my head, to fill my mind with other things. Traveling usually does the trick. For a while, at least, I thought I was successful. But even during my trip, I would catch myself thinking such absurd things like, I wonder what Kath will say when she sees that. No, I don't think Catherine will like this too much. Well, Kath used to say. It was funny, but also a little infuriating to know that you never left my mind. So I wish I knew how to do this. He sighed. I am too used to people leaving me that I do not know how to quit on my own. It must bother you the amount of lovers I had in the past. I am sorry for that. I almost wish I really was that adept. But like I have told you, most were simply rumors. The rest were people realizing I am not as interesting as they had initially thought. Willoughby. They never stay long, Kath. One could say I am amazing with first impressions. There is a nagging feeling that that's all I am ever good for. A sort of exotic trophy people like to collect for its sake, and then put aside when its novelty expires. I can't blame them. By now I am quite sure I am what is wrong. I must be better at letting people go. But you, please don't make me let go. You see through me, Kath. Oh, here's music. In your eyes, I feel like I am somebody worth loving. Yeah, but you knew her since she was like, I don't know, like under 10 maybe? Maybe just a little bit above 10. I'm not entirely sure how old she was supposed to be, but she looked very young. How can you see that person who's a young, a young girl, and then have, I guess, like either paternal feelings for them or like a brotherly feeling for them, and then you see them grow up and then you're like, yeah, I want that, I don't know. That's weird. He's going down in my eyes because it feels a bit like grooming. I don't want to be rash, but it feels a bit like grooming. I don't like it. Is it any wonder I'd like to continue thinking of you fondly? Old habits die hard, I suppose. Catherine bit her lip. Those are impressive words, sire, but do you have a point? My point? It's simple, really. I don't think I'll be able to stop my feelings for you. You may reject me as many times as you wish. It will not change. I've already come to the conclusion that I don't mind. He shrugged. So I propose that you either get used to me chasing you, or you give in to my dashing, toe-mashing charms. Catherine chuckled despite herself. Or I could just kill you with the Duke's fashionable vase. Please do not give my superior the pleasure. I would rather you rip my heart out of my chest and offer it as a dark sacrifice to the gods. Gory. Very poetic, dashing points for you. You think so? I've been reading a lot of romance novels lately. What kind of romance novels are you even talking about? I figured I must learn to be more suave to make the lady of my dreams swoon. Is it working? Catherine laughed, hardly. I believe this is how they do it in the big finale. Willoughby cleared his throat and knelt down on one knee. He took Catherine's hand awkwardly, trying to act as natural as he could. His serious face made Catherine burst out laughing. Well, folle, I don't know. What in the world are you doing, idiot? Stop laughing, madam. I must try this at least once. I am simply concerned for an older gentleman and his knee. Will you be able to stand up from that position later, given your obvious grace? Willoughby chuckled. Terrible. Dare you call me an old man? I don't look my age, you know. Sure. Oh, stop laughing, will you? I'm trying to concentrate. Cleared his throat again. Will Mademoiselle Catherine Peride allow me an audience tonight? As such, perhaps she might allow me to stay by her side for a while longer. It would make me a very happy man. It was sappy and ridiculous, and yet hearing the words did stir Catherine's heart. They were giggling like fools now, like children, her heart heavy with love for him. Love? Did she just think love? Of course she did. She'd always loved him. Why was she fighting her feelings again? The reasons seemed unclear all of a sudden. All right, sire, your gallantry has convinced this lady to accept your offer for tonight. She bowed with an exaggerated curtsy. Willoughby took her hand theatrically as he stood up. This gentleman is relieved he didn't have to sing. A few rules for tonight. As we are in Paris, you must be on your best behaviour. No embarrassing jokes like making friends with the street mimes. Agreed. As such, I must retire by 8, 10, 8, 9:30, 9, take it or leave it. Willoughby grumbled, but Catherine just chuckled at his frustration. Fine, 9:15 it is. Sire, I meant 9 sharp. Willoughby's face brightened like a little boy's. Oh, I know where we can go. There is a quaint little piazza just south of here. I have a breathtaking view of the city. They're on a hill, you see. Excuse me, you made plans with fucking Rosa and you're just like blowing them off with this groomer? Alright. I know the owner personally, so we're already guaranteed the best seats. And they serve the best pommes de terre gratin, whatever. Gratin again? If you continue eating that every opportunity you get, soon there will be no potatoes left in all of France. Catherine sighed. Why must he be so... This better not be a game like all of your other flings, sire. I deserve to be treated like more than a prize. But Catherine watched Willoughby's face beam as he talked about that little house on the hill. How when the weather was perfect, the stars would soak the sky. She giggled to herself with fondness. What a dolt. A night in Paris, and he would rather eat cheesed potatoes. It was just like him to pick the stars instead of the city, wasn't it? It pleased her to know that she adored this side of him that others did not see. But was this the real him? Did she really see through him like he said? Or was this just a face he put on for her sake, like most flirts could? If it was, then she had been watching this face since she was a little girl. From awe to admiration, from friends to lovers. They had seen the best and worst of each other through the years. Surely there was something to that. Surely it couldn't all be a lie, right? I'm sorry, I got carried away. Shall we go? Yes. Catherine grabbed her coat and Guillaume took her purse. Oh, I almost forgot. Rosa is waiting outside. Then let us hurry and meet up with her. I haven't seen her for a long time. I missed her too. It'll be great. It'll be a treat to spend the evening with 2 esteemed ladies. She'll be thrilled to see you. Okay, so you're all going together. You made it seem like it was a date. Just like old times, us 3. Yes. She slipped her hand on his arm nonchalantly and caught Guillaume's smile to himself. At the very least, let that smile be real. Oh. Welp. You're lying. Lady Claudette saw you in Nims. Tears and snot ran down her face. She was holding a vintage 1610 bottle of wine. She gripped the neck of the bottle and flung it at the wall where Guillaume was standing. He ducked just in time to avoid the glass. Chérie. Don't you chérie me, you bastard. Can we not take it out on my wine collection again? Catherine threw another bottle in response. Stop, Catherine, you're going to hurt yourself. Hurt myself? Like you care. You tell me you're offing in Avignon last weekend, but you're actually in Nims? Why are you making this into a huge deal? If I had to stop over at a neighbouring town, it's a lie if you omit things. I told you at the very start of this relationship, Guillaume. I want 100% honesty from you. And I've told you as well, I have a reputation. Rumours follow me, idle mouths can't help but chatter. Did you know that Lady Claudette once indecently proposed to me? And right in her husband's birthday gathering as well. So what? That is all beside the point. You know what they say, where there is smoke, there is fire. How about a name to further torch the bush? Lelaine de Monteclair? Lelaine is the shop girl of the town, a nice girl. Or at least I surmise from all those 3 times I made the mistake to enter her shop, it looks like. Is there anything else you would like to insinuate? Oh, nothing at all, sire. Why, is there anything I should know? Willoughby sighed and tried to speak calmly. Chérie, I promised you that when we got engaged, didn't I? I will be faithful to only you. There is no one else. But Catherine gritted her teeth. Again with this. You are more vague than a monkey's spit. Answer me straight right now. Yes or no? Are you having an affair? Willoughby threw his hands up in annoyance. Murd, Catherine, I am not. I've already answered this. Why does it seem like you only want to hear what you want to hear? I just want to understand everything and make it crystal clear. Is that so bad? Now explain to me what Lady Claudette, you are taking that bitter, conniving woman's words over mine. Well, I tried to get information from the source, but the source isn't very reliable. Willoughby's shoulders slumped in an irritated surrender. She heard him curse under his breath. I'm tired of this, Kath. This is a waste of time. What is the point of this if we keep going around in circles? Catherine snuffed, wiping her nose savagely with her hand. You always do this. You go off on a tangent and pick things apart. You don't even listen to my side at all. Could you stop acting like a child for 1 minute? Maybe then we can have a real conversation. Well, dude, you knew her when she was a child. This can't be a fucking... It's just... A conversation with a liar is always one-sided. Catherine grabbed 2 bottles this time. What would happen if she brought the 2 bottles crashing in front of her? Would the pieces of glass stab her face, her eyes maybe? What a random thought. The morbid picture gave her an out-of-body experience. It was a nasty fight, depressingly familiar, but they were dancing to the same tune once again. Here be the lovers. Enter left, the hothead. Watch her dance with anger blazing. Tears are sparkling bitter rage. The fight goes on until she's spent, the reasons hazy in her head. Pan right, the rake. Both the victim and accused. Words are poison, or an unlit fuse. Migraines taunt his pride and temper. He grudgingly takes on logic's mantle. The words they throw reach fever pitch. The dance will crest, he'll choose to leave. Enough of this, he says in rage. Temper rising, he exits frame. Her unspent fervor burning hot, she cries it off, that cowardly sod. What did you expect, she asks herself. He'll take abuse with a bowed head? The least he could do, her anger shouts, a hint of guilt, a hint of doubt. The migraine throbs as he is pacing, annoyed and angered, his face aflush. Capricious woman, irrational, he shakes his head with a tired breath. Yet he basks in torture and savours the taste. This is love, he nods, this is love, he says. Love and pain go hand in hand. It is painful, yes, but never bland. He nips a morsel and takes a bite. Exquisite, he trembles, a rush, a charge. He feels his heart is struck by love, decides that it is worth the gripe, a dainty flower he must protect, to watch it bloom until it's ripe. But not right now, he stares still sore. His pride's too hard to swallow whole. Alright. Hours pass, he wouldn't call. She forms the words she knows will hurt. Plans to cut and make him bleed, yet when he arrives, she all but weeps. Why'd you leave? I shouldn't have. Are you angry still? I'm here now, love. Her arms are snug upon his neck. He'll promise to change, to do what's best. For both their sakes, he admits he's wrong. A little lie to complete the song. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, love. Fucked up, dude. Just tell me when you're tired of me, or when you find some other pretty thing, you bastard. Catherine slipped back into her brain just as the last sentence left her lips. If you're going to leave me, then just leave. Stop playing me for a fool. This was a new tempo. She dropped the bottles to her side, but did not let go. He noticed the change of song and timed his step accordingly. I never once thought or treated you like a fool. I love you. I'm never going to leave you. New tears churn and bubble from her eyes. Liar. It was her turn to leave this time, and she did. He was left to perform a solo. Contemplation, regret, penance. A vow of new beginnings forming in his head. Kath? Rosie Wosie. Catherine stumbled into Rosa's room that evening, drunk to high heaven. Her half-lidded eyes surveyed Rosa's meagre space. She let herself fall on the bed, regretting it instantly. The ceiling spun in a waltz of throbbing headaches and acid-laced throats. Bad idea. Catherine stood up and her wobbly legs tripped her. Rosa caught her and sat Kath on her small bed. My goodness, you stink of alcohol. She propped some pillows behind her back and fixed the stray hairs that had littered her face. Thanks, hun. You're a dear. I really need to get my freaking leg out from there. Okay. How much have you had, Kath? Catherine counted on her fingers. Never mind. Would you like some water? Nope. Interesting. Huh? I can almost hear liquid sloshing around in my brain when I shake my head. Rosa pursed her lips. Catherine was in no shape to make decisions right now. She stood up to get her something to sober up, but Catherine grabbed Rosa's hand and tugged at it gently. No, no, you sit. Please? Rosa complied. Catherine revealed a bottle about 3/4 full. Snuck another one from the Gilly monster's closet. Serves him right for calling me a child. Rosa began to protest. Catherine paid her no mind. Come on, Rosa. When have we ever drunk ourselves to the point of insanity? And I call you my best friend. Catherine took a huge swig of the bittersweet liquid and offered it to Rosa. Rosa examined it carefully and took a mouthful. She gargled it in her mouth, admiring the sweet and sour flavor of the wine. I've never had anything this rich before. Good, right? It had to be. It's the last bottle. So, had another fight with Shush. Bad wind follows that name. I'm not talking about that egocentric pompadour tonight. We are going to drink. We are going to reminisce, and tomorrow we'll hate ourselves together. Agreed? Rosa giggled. If you say so. Oh, all right, last one. Rosa puffed her cheeks in mock disgust. Fine. How do you make holy water? How? Boil the hell out of it? Rosa and Catherine were assaulted by fits of hysteric laughter. Catherine felt the muscles of her cheeks ache. That is so bad, I don't even have the words. Catherine wiped the tears of laughter from her eyes. I heard that one from one of your suitors, Sire Adrian. Rosa rolled her eyes. How come I always end up talking to your suitors more than you? I must start charging you a fee. I'll pay it with my gratitude. What is wrong with Sire Adrian anyway? He seems like a nice man. Nice hair, nice teeth, nicely groomed mutton chops. The women laughed. How about Sire Ferrand? He sent you that lovely bouquet of flowers. I'm not interested in a relationship at the moment. At the moment? You don't seem interested ever. I am, sometimes. It's just hard to connect to people for me beyond physical. Relationships seem out of the question. You don't have any difficulty with me or that idiot in the upper room. It means you're not incapable. That is only because you are my closest friends. Well, there must be someone. Oh, you are so picky. If you go on like that, you might end up an old maid. So be it. I'd rather take care of your children anyway. I shall be an amazing godmother. Catherine smiled wistfully. I'm not sure that I want any. What? Children. I love children, but it's a little scary. Catherine bit her lip. What if she became her own mother? It was such a terrifying possibility, wasn't it? She barely remembered her mother. Her malady had struck as soon as Catherine was born. She had never called Catherine by her name, not even on the day she had died. All she knew was that their family struggled with that crisis. Her father exhausted and depressed, and her sister forced to grow up too fast. To be a blight to the people you love, how horrible would it be? Catherine. Rosa smiled at her, interrupting her thoughts. You will be a good mother. Your past does not matter. Catherine stared at Rosa, almost enchanted at her ability to know what she was thinking. She really was her best friend, wasn't she? The thought warmed her heart. You really think so? Yes. The fact that you are so concerned about them before they are even born speaks much of your kindness. Whatever happens, those children will grow up loved. Catherine blushed and changed the subject. Oh, we're out of booze. We finished it. I'm quite buzzed. Hey, remember the first time we drank? You mean the party or the potato incident? Of course I meant the potato incident. Oh, how can I forget? Rosa burst out laughing. That was hilarious. Wench, stop laughing. I almost went to jail. Goodness, I was so stupid. Rosa laughed again. Amen. Hey, you're supposed to say, no, Catherine, we do dumb things when we're young. Catherine, we do dumb things when we're young. It's about time you learn your lesson. I can't wait to tell your children endless tales of your shenanigans. Wench. Tut tut. Catherine grabbed Rosa's waist and attempted to tickle her, but Rosa slipped away, laughing. Catherine's stomach lurched and she stopped, her hands still hugging Rosa's waist. The room spun, but it wasn't unpleasant. It felt like being gently rocked in a cradle. Closed her eyes and smiled. Took in Rosa's scent, always smelling slightly like apples. Rosa scratched her head and smoothed her hair. This is nice. Yes. Rosa? Thank you for being with me. Of course. No, I mean... She sat up on the bed. You've been with me all my life. You're my oldest friend. When we first met, I didn't have any friends. I just studied my piano lessons night and day because that's all I ever knew to do. It was all I had. Maybe that's why I begged Papa to let you stay with us. I was so happy. Rosa smiled fondly at the memory. You were there for me, always. Ugh, that sounds disgustingly melodramatic. You're drunk. I understand. They laughed again. Would you like to hear something worse? What? You changed my life. Ooh, that is worse. Rosa smiled fondly as she played with Catherine's hair. I'm the lucky one, Catherine. You took me home and treated me like I was family. I wouldn't have known what a real family was like without you, Papa Francois and Emily. Even if Papa Francois always did avoid me, I knew he cared for me like his own. Yes, why is that? That was why I liked him. He was a good man. And you know, Guillemey was almost family too. Catherine made a face at the mention of the man, but her eyes softened. I miss my father. Me too. There was a pause. Catherine shifted awkwardly in her skin. Can I tell you a secret? Of course. Guillemey and I, we haven't had intercourse. Recently? No, I mean, at all. Oh. Rosa cleared her throat. I see. After all these years? Well, after the first time, never again. Rosa blushed. Her head knitted together images of the two people she considered her friends. Rosa tried to push them away, but all she was able to do was paint the warped fantasies in gossamer and fuzz. She cleared her throat. Is that why you have separate rooms even when we moved here to the chateau? No, that was his idea. He's very peculiar with his sleep. I imagine we'll be keeping the separate bedrooms even when we get married. I don't really mind. Well, your wedding is soon, isn't it? Perhaps you're just nervous. No, I don't think it's like that. Recently we'd get intimate, but I always stopped when things got too sultry. Oh. He gets upset sometimes, but he says it's all right. Catherine looked down ruefully at her toes. He doesn't push me into it. I should be glad, but don't you think it's strange? What if I stay like this even after we get married? I don't understand why. Sometimes I get these doubts and I wonder why they are there. Isn't that unfair for him? I just feel like there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you, but it makes me really insecure. This lack of, what if he's getting it somewhere else? It drives me crazy. And believe me, I want to. I just can't for some reason. I get this horrible feeling I can't explain. Rosa examined Catherine's face and came to a conclusion. It took me a while to understand sex. The sudden no-nonsense comment surprised Catherine. Rosa went on. I was the same as you. I always had an adverse feeling for it, like it's dirty and that I should be ashamed for enjoying it. I'd always thought love would make sex clean, but that's not how it works. They are two separate things. So just because you don't like sex, it doesn't mean you don't love him, Kath. Catherine looked up at her. Why do you even care so much to hurt him? What do you think love is? The warm feeling returned to Catherine's heart. How do you do that, huh? You always know the right thing to say, always. Rosa blushed at this, suddenly aware that they were still in the loose tangle of an embrace. Y'all are fucking gay, okay? I've been trying not to say it, I've been trying not to think it, but this is really gay. I've read a lot of smart books lately. Tried to diffuse the situation with a laugh, but Catherine didn't drop her look. Candlelight played pretty shadows on her skin. It illuminated the glint in her eyes. This is gay! This is gay! The moist on her lips. Rosa felt the warmth of the alcohol rise up to her face. Her heartbeat increased steadily. Anyway, maybe you will feel better about it when you're married. You're probably just nervous about the whole thing. She made attempts to curl away from Catherine's arms, slowly, subtly run away, disperse the proximity, but she couldn't run away from her stare. Catherine's hand caressed Rosa's face. She touched her scars daintily, tracing them with her fingers. You're really pretty, Rosa, especially when you smile. Thank you, I think. You don't believe me. I don't think I am. I look in the mirror and I see a freak. Rosa, that's not true. It is fine. I liked being a freak. I wanted to be ugly. I used to bind my breasts and hide in the shabbiest clothes I could find. Rosa touched her eye. This was penance, she remembered herself saying, for being a sinner and a freak. for attracting attention and spite, for dressing nicely, for letting her hair grow long. But really, I did this to myself to hide. To hide? Rosa's mouth quivered. I thought people don't touch ugly things. But the truth is, they do. So what I'd rather be is invisible. Catherine wrapped her arms around Rosa's neck. She heard Catherine sniff and wipe tears from behind her embrace. Gay. Pushed Rosa's hair away and kissed her defective eye. You're not a freak, and you're not ugly. I love every part of you. They're all beautiful. Rosa forgot how close they were, forgot Catherine's hands on her own. Here was somebody who accepted her with all her faults and ugliness. You always made me feel I am worth something. Because you are beautiful, Rosa, inside and out. Rosa saw her face reflected in Catherine's eyes. In them, she did indeed look beautiful. A lump formed in Rosa's throat. Catherine's face hovered above her cheek. Planted a little seed of a kiss on it, just barely away from— This is gay as hell. I knew it. I knew it. Away from her lips, Rosa kissed her nose in return. It made Catherine giggle. At first, the kisses were sweet, innocent. The kind of punch-drunk kisses that sent them both into bouts of giggling, but Catherine's hand caressed her neck. The kisses lingered, lips melded, hands explored, and Rosa sucked on Catherine's tongue inside her mouth. Wine, candle wax, spit. That was what it tasted like. Rosa's head began to swoon. Catherine's hand squeezed her right breast. Ripe, grapes, plush. Oh. Rosa began to taste more of her, longing, regrets, tears. A sensational flavor she had never tasted before hovered at the edge of her tongue. Suddenly, she was hungry for it. Take it on. Fucking mum, like encouraging lesbian activities? What is this? Rosa savored the taste. She breathed deeply. All mine. Child, I want it. No, okay, this isn't encouraging it. Her heart, I want her heart. Her love is sweet. Listen to my voice. Mother? But I'm so hungry. So hungry. Stop. Rosa flung her eyes open. A sinking feeling of menace overcame her. No. Rosa pulled away. She pushed Catherine away from her face. Catherine's eyes snapped open, startled by Rosa's outburst. Why did you stop? Greedy, selfish bitch. She blinked for a few seconds. A look of horror crept onto her face. I'm sorry. I didn't mean— No, Cath. Rosa couldn't stand the hurt in her eyes. She was probably blaming herself. Rosa wanted to shout how wrong she was, but the lump in her throat became a rapacious mouth. A tumor had grown inside of her, a parasite. She could feel it pulse and slither inside her neck. She couldn't speak at all. Catherine wobbled off the bed, wiped her mouth and cheeks, which were covered with a thin layer of drool. I'm so sorry, Rosa. I'm going to leave now. Cath, good night. Rosa should have followed her. But when she tried to stand, the floor twirled. She choked at the flavor left in her throat. Sick and cloying, sticky sweet like honey. The taste both repulsed and enticed her. Thick spit leaked out of her mouth. She felt the urge to vomit. This is nothing, Mother. Just a bad after effect of alcohol. No. Please don't call me that. It was an accident. Everything is fine. You'll talk to Catherine tomorrow. Assure her that this was not her fault. Everything was fine. There was an urgent knock at Guillemy's door. The clock read 2:15 in the morning. He closed his journal and stood up from his desk. Yes, coming. He opened his door. Catherine stood in front of him, her cheeks stained with hastily wiped tears. Kath? Guillemy, can we talk? Oh, isn't it quite late? Please, it's urgent. All right. Guillemy led her inside. Lady, you smell like my vintage bottle of Bourgogne? I don't know. Did you get so drunk you actually thought of apologizing first? I didn't think I'd see the day. Yari, what's wrong? Catherine's thumb went to her mouth without thinking. How could she even begin to tell Guillemy what she'd done? Honey, I was really upset with you today, so despite any good sense, I went and got myself drunk. This time I dragged Rosa along with me. Things have a tendency to go out of hand when alcohol is involved, as you know. Long story short, I came unto Rosa. You know Rosa, the girl who was almost like my sister? Yes, I may have forced myself on her. And I did that right after she told me she had been abused before. She felt Guillemy's hand take her thumb away from her mouth. Kath. She looked at her fingers in horror. Her habit had surfaced again. She thought she had gotten rid of this as she grew up. replacing the nail biting with a meticulous, almost obsessive care of her fingers. Fingers are my livelihood. I must take care of them. Now the nails were chewed down to jagged stumps, and a couple of them had tiny blistering cuts. Kath, can you talk? Catherine's eyes snapped back to Gwillemy, as if he had just materialized into the room beside her. So yes, like I was saying, darling, which is the worst thing. What do you think? This implied incest, my abuse of my best friend, or my infidelity to you? Or if that doesn't cut it, dear, may I divulge to you one last point? I felt something worrying when I kissed her. Excitement. If she hadn't stopped me, something else would have. It felt so real. It didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like it had always been there, buried deeply. So much that it felt like cheating. It was like a craving. I wanted it. It was something I haven't felt with you when we... Okay, so... Basically, she's always been gay. Her adoration for Gwillemy was mistaken for love. I guess she's maybe always been in love with Rosa? I don't know. Why is this happening? I don't know. I don't even know who I am anymore. Kath, you're scaring me. Tell me what's wrong. Would you still want to marry me? Would you still love me if you knew? I wouldn't. I can't even look at myself in the mirror. But I think I know who I am now. I am a selfish, depraved bitch. I've always been the controlling, jealous lover to you, and just one night of drunken frenzy, I went and took advantage of the two people I care for the most. Not enough wine to justify this. I want to call off the engagement. At first, Catherine saw that Gwillemy treated it as a joke, but the panic in his eyes set in immediately. What? I said I'm calling off the engagement. Well, I refuse. You don't have a choice. I'm leaving tomorrow. No, not until you tell me what's wrong. Willemy's eyes didn't flinch. These were the looks he gave her that melted her heart. They were so sure and steadfast in their care. They were just fighting this morning, a fight she had started as usual. You know, I would like to say she's bi, but since she has, like, no... Oh. Please don't break, chat. But since she's so adverse to having sex with him, like, I think that she's a lesbian. And that it's, like, a different kind of love she has for him. You know? They were just fighting this morning, a fight she had started as usual, yet there was no doubt in his eyes at all. If she were to see that clearly fade away from his eyes, she knew it would break her. Is this about the fight earlier? Because, Kath, I swear to you, I haven't done any of the... No, stop. Hearing him reinstate his devotion to her just made it more painful. Tears pooled in her eyes and fell in huge, ugly globs. She had been doing so well, too. She had thought she could hold it in until she left. She wiped the tears as best she could, but more kept pouring out. It isn't about that. Then what is it? What do you want me to do? Whatever it is, I shall do it. This was so hard. Why did it have to be so hard? Why did she even go here? Because she wanted to see his face. She wondered what it would be like for a cheater to go back to the arms of her lover. Would it change somehow? Did she still love him? How could she even tell? All her emotions were wrapped in a thick layer of guilt. It was hard to distinguish every painful thought. She'd started to sob now, yes, indeed. Ugly, unflattering snorts came out of her nose. It felt comforting to hold on to the guilt. Its existence made the hatred towards herself bite less. Kath, please tell me what's bothering you. I don't deserve you. I'm a horrible person. You ought to find someone else to marry. Catherine let the words tumble out of her mouth, slightly relieved to be rid of them. She looked tearfully up at Gwillemy to gauge his reaction, but he just stared back at her blankly. Why won't he say anything? Catherine sobbed, fearing the worst. Gwillemy cleared his throat and spoke hesitantly. Could you, repeat that? He cupped his hand to his ear and angled it closer to her face. He apparently hadn't caught any of her heartfelt words. Catherine snarled angrily at him. You idiot. I'm having a breakdown here. But I didn't understand what you said. I said you ought to find someone else because I'm a horrible person. Gwillemy pulled her to him. Oh, that's it? Whatever made you think I'll accept that reason? Catherine's tears soaked his shirt. You don't know what I've done. Then tell me. You'll hate me, I guarantee it. Did you punch a baby? No. The inside joke made her laugh out of the blue. She buried her face in his chest in a half sob, half laugh. Suddenly her doubts were cleared. Suddenly she didn't want to marry anyone else. What the fuck is wrong with this girl? Catherine's arms tightened around Willoughby's waist. I've been taking you for granted, haven't I? I've been arrogant, expecting you to always adjust to me and my whims. A new feather sprung out of her love for him. I don't deserve you right now. But I'll work on that if you give me another chance. First, she would tell him what she had done. Then it would be up to him if he still wanted her. He deserved that decision. What I did, but Willoughby stopped her with a kiss on her forehead. Tomorrow, after a hearty breakfast and a good night's rest, I'll listen to what you have to say, though I am quite sure my answer will be the same. Catherine's face melted into a smile and he beamed at her. Okay, so maybe she is bi, and she was just very hesitant to be with him, and that stopped her from having those feelings of excitement with sex with him. Like, she was so insecure about all the rumors surrounding him, etc. I mean, I would be fucking insecure if he'd been fucking banging my sister. Ugh, I don't know, this whole thing is weird. My star finally smiles. Catherine wiped her eyes. I love you so much. She sighed with content, part of her anxiety put to rest. I do. I really do. She whispered that last one under her breath as if trying to console herself. Willoughby. Yes, dear? Blech. Will you make love to me? Willoughby's brows shot up in surprise. Right now? Yes. No. Well, if you're not ready, later is also fine. Or tomorrow. But since it's already morning, then technically it's today, right? Willoughby's head tilted slightly, an amused smirk plastered on his face. Please take me seriously, Willoughby. This is important to me. I have to know, I have to make sure. Make sure of what? Catherine. Willoughby held her hand. I think you're tired. And just a little bit balmy, more than usual, I mean. But this is what we will do. Willoughby guided the woman to the bed and sat her down. We are going to lay on the bed. I'm going to pat your hair until you fall asleep. I shall skip work today, have that trifling little talk you want, and as such, if you are still in the love-making type of mood, then, mademoiselle, I will take you up on your offer. Catherine's eyes moistened, but this time they were happy tears. I love you. Willoughby shrugged and lifted Catherine's legs up onto the bed. I love you too, and aren't you lucky? Save it. He climbed onto the bed beside her. Catherine draped her arm over him. He searched for her hand, brought it up to his lips, and patted it. She closed her eyes and rested her head on his chest, comforted by the warmth of his embrace. Monsieur, can I ask you something? Why do you love me so much? Willoughby mused for a while. Is that a trick question? It feels like a trick question, and we will figure out why in the next video. Bye!